Welcome to the ACC on ESPN as we come to you from the KFC Yum Center in Louisville. As usual, a good crowd is on hand as they watch number 7 Louisville take on Syracuse. It is the ACC conference opener for both teams. And we welcome you to Louisville. Pam Ward along with former NC State great Deb Antonelli, and we're really looking forward to getting the ACC underway with these two teams.
I'm looking forward to working with you, Pam. This is going to be a great environment. You get to start a conference play. It feels like a new season. Everything you've done in the non-conference matters now.
And Kiara Lewis certainly matters for this Syracuse team.
Well, she's terrific. She's a ball-dominant guard on the top of the floor who loves to play in their drag screen action. Very good at scoring in the last 2 games. She's averaged 25 points, 5.5 assists. She is very good at distributing the basketball in this high-paced system. And on the other side, a terrific point guard matchup for Louisville. It's Dana Evans, second in the league in scoring, the best outside the arc. She will play with pace, and her decision-making will be critical against the up-tempo Syracuse defense.
Now, Louisville is 11-1 on the year, but head coach Jeff Walz is still waiting for his team to hit its stride.
It's the ACC, and this is a program here at Louisville that competes and wins in the ACC. We haven't played anything close to what Louisville women's basketball stands for. And it's really frustrating to me because we've spent 13 years here building this thing to where people respect what we do. They respect what we do.
Well, they respect you all right, Coach Walz. 3 Final Fours, 2 title games. And when you're talking about coaching effort at this point in the season, that is an issue. But I'll tell you what, Pam, they're going to have to play hard to win because Syracuse is going to bring the pace.
You see Jeff Walz, 13 seasons. Quentin Helsman, who is one of his buddies now in his 14th year at Syracuse. Now, Louisville is a team that beat Oregon, the only team to beat Oregon so far this year, and then they lost to Ohio State in their very next game. But this is a team that lost a lot of components, including Asia Durr from last year, so they're still trying to find themselves.
The all-time winningest senior class in Louisville history graduated, so now you'll see Jasmine Jones, who's a really good driver, and Kylie Shook at the top, a terrific pick-and-pop post player.
And yes, we are in Louisville, but Louisville deciding to go with the dark gray uniforms today. Syracuse in the white uniforms, trimmed in orange. And this is a team that doesn't shoot the ball particularly well percentage-wise, but they will take a lot of shots. Rebound taken down by Kylie Shook, who was just honored for having the most blocks in the history of the Louisville program.
Well, you'll see a 2-3 Syracuse zone that inside 10 on the shot clock can switch to man.
Shook picked up her dribble, needs some help, gets it from Evans.
And they're actually in man right now off the missed shot on the other end.
Shook passed it up. And Syracuse almost forced a turnover. No foul call, 2 seconds left to shoot, but the ball is indeed turned over now to the orange. Syracuse coming in, they are 6-5 on the season, and they have played a very challenging pre-conference schedule, which is somewhat unusual.
You know what, Pam, I think their record is a little misleading based on who they've played. They've already played Oregon, they've played Stanford, they've played Michigan State and West Virginia in their last 2 games. Great prep to get ready for the ACC.
Yep, went on the road to play Michigan, lost to Green Bay. The Phoenix present a lot of challenges. And the bucket by Stratmana Digna, the junior from Latvia. And now just a one and done.
And a good decision by Cooper, didn't have the numbers.
Syracuse off to the good start.
Well, that's Kiara Lewis now. She'll pick up full court. They like to press on made baskets. I think you worry about this game sometimes as coaches, Pam. The first game after holiday break, everybody's back from Christmas. You've had a couple of practices. How much turkey did you eat?
Balagoon hit on the other side, so it's 5-2 in favor of Syracuse.
Now, I wouldn't expect the shot clock to come into play very much when Syracuse has the ball. They're looking to fire on the first open shot.
Syracuse averaging 72 points per game. offensive rebound. Jasmine Jones, who can't quite get to it. Dee Cantner, Karen Priato, and Bruce Morris are our officials this afternoon.
Louisville struggling to get into rhythm offensively, so now Jeff Walls is going to extend his three-quarter court pressure.
Stratmana left open, and she has hit a couple from long range. Syracuse now up 8-2.
See, and that's the danger of playing a team that loves to shoot the three. When you stretch your pressure, you open up backside scoring.
Wide open jumper is nailed by Jasmine Jones, the senior from Tallahassee. Leading this team, hitting 56% of her shots this season. And there's a double dribble. Ball goes over to the Cardinals.
I think Jasmine Jones is a terrific mid-range jump shooter, and she is really good driving to the basket. She gets to the free throw line. That's what she does really well for this team.
Evans with the drive off the mark, rebound on the floor, and finally picked up by Engstler. 8-4 Syracuse leading. Stratmana three. That's her first miss from out there. An offensive rebound taken down by Bianca Dunham. We've seen her minutes increase over the last couple of years. Shook with the miss.
Look at Jones crashing the glass. That's her second offensive rebound early.
Averaging 5 boards per game. Good defense by Shook, but a little bit too close, as Kylie will be whistled for her first personal foul. 6:09 to go in the first quarter. Syracuse up 8-4.
It's been up and down. You see both teams a little bit winded. Kylie Shook coming off a game at UT Martin where she had 6 blocks to set the career shot block record at Louisville. But this time she picks up a foul.
Kiara Lewis, the leading scorer, 17 points per game at the free throw line. And Kylie Shook broke the blocks record held by the one and only Angel McCoughtry, the best player in the history of this program.
You break any record with Angel's name on it, that's a big deal.
And that had stood for quite a while. Louisville just 2 for 10 from the floor. And a banker.
Yeah, that's Jasmine Jones' game. The up-tempo style of play should favor her today for Louisville. And there's Lewis playing in one of those drag screens, Pam. She is coming off that drag screen looking to make a play.
Not wasting any time getting the shot off. The redshirt junior from Chicago, forced to play the point this year because of the illness to Tianama Akahia, the incredible point guard who is on the bench. We'll talk more about her as she is coming back from a double mastectomy for breast cancer. And boy, what a great attitude Tiana has, and we all look forward to seeing her play next season.
Tiana is such an inspiration. She's over there with a clipboard and a pen this year, but she'll be back on the floor next year. She's got one more surgery in January, and we're looking forward to seeing her back. She's got such a great spirit about her.
Floater up and in for Elizabeth Balogun, Nigeria native.
Good job to defend the three-point line in transition.
So it's now 10-8 in favor of Syracuse. Louisville gets the ball back after Engstler turns it over. Emily Engstler, a very interesting player, sophomore from New York City. At the time, the highest rated recruit ever signed by this program. She is number 21 in white, somebody to keep an eye on. Evans just with the miss, and there's Engstler with the board. Engstler dribbles and draws the foul on Balogun.
I love the way you describe her, Pam. Interesting, because she is. She's got size. She can score on the block. She shoots the three. Her handle's gotten better. She can be a big piece for Coach Hillsman.
And she's averaging 11.5 rebounds a game, which is tops in the ACC, but also a scorer. And a very interesting player, enigmatic on the floor. So she takes a break. And that's a walk they got.
Syracuse with the early 2-point lead. When we come back on the other side, we're going to show you a little GoPro with Dana Evans, the best three-point shooter in the league. All right, we're going to run through some action why Dana Evans is one of the best three-point shooters in the nation. Okay, Dana, let's go off a stagger first.
I walk this staggered in, I come off 1-2 shot. Follow through. Pin down, I walk the pin down in 2, come off 1-2, ready to shoot, hold the follow through. Ball screen, I wait for the screen, come off, ready to shoot. Yeah, that's the way they do it.
You know what, Pam? I love that it's the 1-2 into the shot, right? Because she uses the inside pivot foot coming down all that screening action on the right side of the floor. I think she's got tremendous IQ. She's worked extremely hard on her three-point shooting, and she has become a great offensive threat for Jeff Walz.
Yep, second in the league in scoring and three-point percentage. She only shot 22% from threes as a freshman, and now in a junior year, 46%, so more than doubling that average because she has worked so hard on it.
Get in the gym and shoot. If you want to be a good shooter, it's pretty simple. As the numbers that you're alluding to right there. She has put the time in the gym, working on perfecting her craft outside the arc.
Funny how that works, right? You put work in, and things can get
It's amazing what can happen if you work at it.
That's a great start, isn't it, for Jasmine Jones? She's already got 8.
Yeah, I think she got her start by getting on the glass, right? She got on the offensive boards a couple times, and she's hit some mid-range jump shots, which is a big part of her game.
Back.
There was miscommunication there between Jones and Shook on Stratmana. You can't leave her open. She's too good of a shooter.
Yep, she is off to a good start as well, as Syracuse has tied it up at 12 apiece. Evans just a little bit too strong on that attempt.
You know, a player who's really been a good tempo changer for Louisville has been Yassine Diop, number 2 in gray. She has been a spark on the defensive end, and she's actually been able to score some points for them in the last couple of games.
Grad transfer from Pitt. Louisville also has a couple of transfers who came over from Georgia Tech after the coaching change.
What a high, hard hedge by Dunham. Turnover for the Cardinals.
Forced by 33, Bianca Dunham, and well, you just referenced Diop, and Diop gets right in the thick of things. He gets fouled. Seen originally from Senegal.
She transferred 2 years ago. She sat out last year with the ACL injury. Her minutes have gone up in the last couple of games because she's been highly productive from out on the offensive end.
Saturday at noon on ESPN2 and the ESPN app. Big 12 men's basketball. It's Oklahoma State and Texas Tech in Lubbock. Raiders won both last season. Can the Cowboys bounce back? Check it out Saturday, noon Eastern. That's 11 a.m. Texas and Oklahoma time next Saturday.
Gabby Cooper, number 11 in white, is a player that really needs to get going for Syracuse. Here she is right here outside the arc. She was 0 for 10 outside the three-point line in their last game against West Virginia, and she has been a terrific three-point shooter over her career.
Making her 109th straight start today, creeping up on 1,000 career points, but as Deb referenced, has struggled with that shot, and they need it. Drive by Tisha Hyman, a freshman from White Plains, does not go in, and now a foul on Diop. Excuse me, that was Robinson with the miss on the other end, pardon me. The other number 5. Robinson, not known for shooting, went in there, took a shot and missed it. There's Hyman, and she this time does indeed draw the foul.
Oh, Syracuse doing a really good job moving the ball, and when they get ball reversal, it's a perfect time to attack. You got a 6'5" rotating out on you, and Hyman reads the D, takes it hard to the rim.
Tisha Hyman, the freshman from White Plains, 3 for 3 from the free throw line in this young season. She's already a published author, wrote a kid's book. She's like
That's
19.
impressive.
Yeah. Gets it done at the line, so Syracuse now up 2, and there's some pressure, but a little bit too much from Lewis, who commits the foul in the back court. It's the first on Kiera.
With this lineup on the floor, Pam, Mikasa Robinson runs the point while Dana Evans gets a break against the extended half-court pressure by Syracuse. Coach Hillsman's always going to make you challenge and play against different looks defensively.
Shook finding it difficult to get any space on the floor.
And look at Job Ditaldi, runs hard to the rim to create the space on the top of the floor.
Engsler back in.
Post players don't always get credit for that, Pam, but when you run rim to rim like that, you flatten out the defense and you open up the top of the floor. I'd give her an assist if I was keeping score.
Well, and Kylie Shook yelling help and finally is able to get it over the timeline to Diop. And then good patience to find Dixon. Elizabeth Dixon, a sophomore from Memphis, gets her first basket for Louisville. Cooper gives it up. Engsler just hit from out there and then can't get it to fall.
Syracuse doing a good job of moving the basketball against pressure. Engsler doing a nice job pulling up from the top of the floor. And then a nice finish inside. Good ball fake by Diop.
And Engsler and Jaldi Tabdi ran into each other, kind of eliminating the defense. So Evans not out on the floor right now, the leading scorer for Louisville. Shot clock into single digits as we go under a minute in the quarter. And a foul drawn with 1 second left to go on the shot clock. Good drive.
That's a really smart play by Elizabeth Balagoon. Last year's ACC Freshman of the Year while at Georgia Tech. She's a transfer to Louisville, and she sees a big post player rotating out on her, and she does a nice job of attacking that post player off the bounce.
Balagoon, we had a chance to talk with head coach Jeff Walls, just talking about incorporating, as you see what she looked like last year at Tech, incorporating all these new players into this system, and it's been kind of a learning curve, and they're still putting things in that normally they'd like to be running this time of year.
Well, when you graduate the all-time winningest class in the history of your program, some things just come naturally, right? And you heard Coach Walls in the locker room before the game talking about effort. You know, and this team needs to learn the culture that's Louisville basketball and how hard you have to play all the details of the game. And I think they're figuring that out. And if you don't figure it out, you're going to lose because the ACC is tough.
Yeah, Louisville picked to win the ACC this year. Kiara Lewis made the shot and then almost a turnover. Diop knocks it down. Shot clock is off.
A really good 2-point field goal percentage quarter for Louisville.
Now Lewis looks over at Coach Hillsman to decide what to do. She'll probably shoot it. And hit from behind, drawing the foul.
This is a great skip pass. Too long of a closeout. Or too short of a closeout, really, because you got to close out longer to a three-point shooter.
That was actually an offensive foul on Lewis, so Kiara Lewis now has a couple of fouls. Big call as the first quarter comes to a close, and a good one it was. Syracuse up 1 after 1. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance, and that's Kylie Shook getting honored for having the most blocks in the history of this program.
It's an incredible feat, and she's a tremendous shot blocker, and the reason why is because 57% of the shots she blocks into their transition game. It's like a steal. 27% into the fifth row, 16% the opponent keeps. I watched all those shots on Synergy.
And broke them down.
And charted them so we could see what she does with the block shots and keep track of it.
Yep, and leads the ACC in that category, 2.5 per game. Congrats to Kylie, who broke Angel McCautry's record, the all-time great from Baltimore. And here is an offensive foul again on Syracuse this time. While going over to Louisville, the foul on Finkley. Amaya Finkley picks up her first. So Louisville is only down by 1, but how about this? Shook, Dunham, and Evans, a combined 0 for 8 for only 2 points in the first quarter for the Cardinals.
Well, Jasmine Jones has been doing the heavy lifting early. She's been terrific in their transition game and on the offensive glass.
Evans averaging 19 a game, just pass it up. There's Jones, who had the terrific first quarter. Riley Shook averaging 10 points per game. Evans still can't connect. And then a good tandem block underneath.
Syracuse doesn't have any offensive rebounds, but Louisville has 3.
Now missing from the outside. Boy, Jop has been very active today. Coming back, as Deb mentioned, from the ACL, tore that a few games in last year and redshirted.
Well, she's an incredible athlete, and she has the ability to help change tempo because she rebounds and she defends.
Contact inside, nothing called. Finkley with the good D.
Loves that drag screen, and it's capable of doing that right there, pulling the trigger right behind the screen. Two-three zone, switching to man. It's a call from the bench by Coach Hillsman. So what you have to do when a team does that, Pam, is you got to run your man offense, right? You got to be ready to run your man stuff.
In anticipation of the defense
Yes.
changing.
They play with such great pace, and then they make you change your pace all the time. They constantly make you hesitate. But you don't want to take the shots that Syracuse wants you to take. Jeff Walls wants him to take the shots that he wants his team to take. Can't let the defense dictate that. They like to run and jump in the backcourt. You got to be ready to attack. And see, the pass was out here to the three-point line where Balagoon was wide open.
Ball tipped out, 19 seconds to shoot for Louisville. Evans hanging out over there in the left corner, not getting the ball yet on this possession. Ball knocked over to Balagoon.
Come on, Pam, check it out. Look at that. Cross them up, get to the midline. Beautiful.
Jasmine Jones continuing to get work done, but Syracuse quickly moved the ball up the floor to get a bucket from Jaldi Tabdi.
Late shot clock, cross up Gabby Cooper, get to the middle, score over the top. I love Jasmine Jones' mid-range game. And then on the other end, Jaldi Tabdi is at the free throw line because once again, she runs rim to rim, gets great position early, and makes herself a big target at the rim.
6'2" redshirt sophomore. She was born in French Guiana, has been on French national teams for the last several years. ACC all-freshman last year. And she gets a three-point play, nicely done. And that puts Syracuse back on top by a pair.
I'm all about the guards, but when a post player runs every time, I think it should be recognized because it changes the space on the floor.
I know Rebecca Lobo, who's in the studio today, agrees with you wholeheartedly.
Well, I think Rebecca ran hard every time she was on the floor.
And you want to be rewarded, right?
Yeah, well, sure. But you also are creating an assist for your teammates, so to speak. Because when you got great guards that can make plays on the top of the floor, that's exciting to watch.
Hyman was called for a foul on Syracuse in the last stoppage of play, her first. Evans tries to get it inside, and boy, threw it right away.
As much tape as Dana Evans watches, she'll break that down tomorrow, and she won't make that mistake twice.
So 2 steps, as she was stood up by Shook. That's 9 turnovers now for the Orange. Anxler with a couple of points.
So this is where Louisville gets in trouble when they play too much off the bounce. They're a team that's much better when they move the ball.
Ball goes right back over to Louisville. So Jeff Walls was saying during shoot around today, and the mantra, just move without the ball. That will get you open shots. Trying to get his team to buy into it and to make cuts when you see the defender turn their head and things like that, and that's stuff that they're still working on. Shook gives him a second chance. Evans still doesn't have a field goal.
Another offensive rebound.
Balogun. Nobody there but Engsler to board it. Left all alone, and that's a good spot. Stratton can't hit from out there, however.
You got to make sure you get a hand in her face and make her put it on the floor. She doesn't miss many wide open shots.
And she's had quite a few opportunities this afternoon. Hit a couple of threes early. Baseline, nothing doing. Rebound. Taken down by Lewis. And now a foul in the backcourt. NBA Countdown tonight at 9 Eastern tips off a special Sunday night NBA matchup on ESPN and the app. Luka Doncic and the Mavs are in LA to take on LeBron and the Western Conference leading Lakers at 9:30 Eastern time. Big turnaround for the Lakers this season. Balogun was just called for her second foul.
Well, you know, it's one of those things where she took a couple of shots. Maybe she should have passed the ball, and she saw the sub waiting at the bench. So she thought maybe she'd take another one. You know how that worked as a player, right, Pam? You think you're coming out, you better get your shots up.
Do something. Jones with yet another rebound. Syracuse still does not have an offensive rebound. Louisville has a half a dozen. All alone, Shook can't get it. Oh, that was a great look from Jasmine Jones inside, but Kylie couldn't kiss it off the glass.
Both these coaches excellent at preparing their teams. Both are like point guards over there on the sideline. They're really good when their offense is in front of them.
Shook able to get a hand on it.
There's a couple of other really good point guards in this league on the sideline. Katie Myers, an excellent offensive coach for Miami. Wes Moore, NC State, terrific offensive coach. When their teams are in front of them, offensively in the second half, they have a different playbook almost.
Jasmine Jones now with 13 of Louisville's points, and the crowd finally has something to cheer about.
Well, she understands what Jeff Wells was talking about in the locker room before the game about effort and energy. Great contest by Shook.
And they're keeping them off the offensive glass. Number 11, Narika Kono in the game. Freshman from Japan. Evans wide right. And then Cooper able to run it down, challenges Evans. First offensive rebound of the game. They get a couple and still come up short, but at least they drew the foul. We are all tied up in Louisville as we take a timeout. Welcome back. Louisville clinging to a 1-point lead over Syracuse. Neither team shooting the ball well here in this second quarter. As you take a look, we've had lead changes and ties, but how about Dana Evans with the goose egg so far?
Yeah, I think it's a matter of time before she starts to heat up. Maybe she's saving it for an exciting second half. But the good news is that it's a tied basketball game without her offense.
Evans usually scores 19 points per game. That is second in the league. Only Jocelyn Willoughby of Virginia is scoring more, and that is by 3/100ths of a point. So they're basically tied for the lead. But as you mentioned, boy, Louisville hanging in there despite not getting the effort that they're used to getting from Dana Evans. Sixth player of the year last year in the ACC, now thrust into the starting role. Asia Durr, Erica Carter, Sam Furing, three starters who have moved on, and a whole different dynamic now with this team. Jasmine Jones, how about that?
I mean, she is on fire in the first half. Fantastic first half effort by Jasmine Jones. 7 for 9 from the floor. And none of them are layups.
All of them tough shots. 15 for Jasmine. Louisville back on top.
Now, I'm not a big fan of this, coming in the game and not really getting a sweat on yet and taking the first shot.
Washington with the miss and then the foul on the other end.
Remember we told you, offensive rebounding, mid-range jump shot, and she's just working off the nail in the middle of that Syracuse defense. Now, this whole defense for Quentin Hillsman is designed to keep you out of the middle of the floor. So Jeff Walz puts Jasmine Jones on the nail and lets her make plays from there.
Boy, that's a great graphic. It tells you that Jasmine Jones is more than pulling her weight. The rest of the team shooting 15%.
But there's almost 10,000 people in here, and you can't hear a thing with her standing on the free throw line. That's how quiet it is in the building.
Rainy afternoon in Louisville, but as usual, the fans showing up. Louisville's won 90% of their games in this gym, and you can see why. Good teams, good crowd. Jasmine Jones has scored all of Louisville's points in this quarter, all 9, and that's a couple now that Washington has jacked up. Kono looks at it, hits it!
She's another good mid-range jump shooter for Jeff Walz from Japan.
Coach gave her a few extra days off so she could go home to Japan for a little Christmas break. And the fans are happy. They're going to be happier now that Syracuse calls a timeout. Louisville up 5. Welcome back to Louisville. Pam Ward and Deb Antonelli joining you. Kylie Shook and the rest of the Louisville Cardinals on a 6-0 run over the last minute to take a 5-point lead. Quentin Hillsman called the timeout.
I think it's a good timeout. You know, you got to take it before you lose it for the half, and it's a good time. It's an important possession right here.
Tara Lewis directing traffic as she gave the ball up to Washington. Good switch for Louisville on the outside. Lewis can't get the roll. Kono comes up with the rebound.
I like the design of the play. I don't like the result. It's a good hard roll to the rim and a throwback.
Jasmine Jones continues to be aggressive and draws another foul. Going to the hot hand.
And that's the key word, Pam. You said it, aggressive, right? Off the bounce, looking to attack, knows she can elevate over all defenders.
Bowl Mania goes on tomorrow. 2 more games on ESPN and the ESPN app. Western Kentucky and Western Michigan in the ServPro First Responder Bowl at 12:30 Eastern. Follow that with Mississippi State. And a lot of folks watching this game here because it's going to be Louisville in the Franklin American Mortgage Music City Bowl. What a game last night.
Ooh, did you catch Clemson, Ohio State?
I did not watch the end.
Well, I did.
Apparently Clemson won.
They did. It was outstanding. It was a great college football game, an instant classic.
Boy, and LSU looks unbelievable as they just steamrolled over Oklahoma. Fans want some defense.
There's the switch on the ball screen.
Angsler, offensive board, too strong. Shook knocked it out of bounds.
You know, Syracuse leads the ACC in offensive rebounding at just about 16 a game. A lot of that has to do with effort. A lot of that has to do with long threes. And there's an excellent inbounds play. Good post up on the inbounds by Angsler.
Syracuse has gotten 5 straight offensive rebounds after they were down 6-0 in that category in the game. And they're now down only by 4 as we're inside a minute to go in the half. Syracuse led by 1 after a quarter. Shook gets it over to Evans, who's still looking for her first point.
Shook is a pick and pop. She is not someone who likes to post up with her back to the basket.
Evans with the miss. It's Syracuse ball.
And this is a well-designed baseline out-of-bounds play. Shook doesn't see the ball. There's no pressure on the inbounder. Too easy for Syracuse.
And the three drops in to make it a 1-point game. Emily Engsler with a couple of big buckets. Jeff Walls calls the timeout for Louisville.
With range, Emily Engsler, we talked about her being unique in terms of her skill set. Look at how far outside the three-point line she is. I think I'm gonna have to get my tape measure out. Pam, at halftime, I'm gonna have to go out there and measure that one.
Sophomore from New York makes it a 1-point ball game. Engsler was a McDonald's All-American her senior year in high school.
Well, she plays 1 through 5. She can run the offense from the top of the floor. She can run the offense with her back to the basket inside or be a part of the offense. I think she's an interesting look as an offensive player.
And again, the leading rebounder on this team, averaging almost a double-double. Now Louisville has to go full court, just 0.4 of a second difference between the clocks. Gets it over to Evans, who immediately faces some pressure.
One shot here for Louisville.
Dana Evans 0 for 7 today.
Look for the late ball screen coming here with about 10 on the shot clock. See, Syracuse is going to switch to the 2-3 zone. Good move by Coach Hilsman. Here comes the late screen.
Yep, we got to go. Shook off the rim, and that is the end of the half. 1-point advantage for Louisville, and what a first half for Jasmine Jones. 18 points, including 10 in the second quarter. Halftime now. Welcome back to Louisville, about to get underway. The Cardinals with the slimmest of leads over Syracuse as both of these teams make their ACC conference debuts. Pam Ward, along with Deb Antonelli, not a lot of scoring in that first half. What'd you see?
Well, if Syracuse would stop turning the ball over, they would have those extra possessions that they usually game plan around. But I think defensively, if they could take away Jasmine Jones in that mid-range and force Louisville to the outside, I think they have a better chance of making their defense work.
Yeah, Jasmine Jones was absolutely terrific in the first half. But look at that bottom line. Evans, Shook, and Dunham. There's Evans, the second leading scorer in the league, have scored 0 points. They average about 36 per game as a trio. And still they're winning.
Well, you can't believe that that's going to stay, right? I mean, they're too good of an offensive team to not have them score. But Jasmine Jones does not mind carrying the load today. Wow, she's been terrific in the mid-range pull-up.
She is 8 of 10 from the floor. Gives Louisville that 3-point lead. Louisville really getting some separation in the second quarter. Syracuse did not shoot the ball well, with the exception of Engsler. The ball stays with Louisville.
See, those plays right there, you have to finish. I mean, you get a terrific steal on the defensive end. You have a layup.
20 seconds to shoot. Evans passed up.
That's a tough shot, and she gets fouled on it. See, that's bailing out the jump shooter, which you do not want to do. Gabby Cooper knows better. She takes the fake, and then she leans in, and that's a foul. You have to protect the shooter.
That is the third foul on Cooper. First trip to the free throw line for Evans, who is one of the best in the country at over 92%, and she missed it.
I hope I didn't mess her up with the GoPro.
I think it's all your fault.
You know, all those passes right to the shooting pocket were too perfect, so you got to throw her some bad passes.
Yeah, she's got a point now. So Evans finally gets on the score sheet. It's a 4-point advantage for Louisville. Engsler had a good second quarter. That one rolls off the rim, and the ball goes over to Louisville.
One of the things that Coach Hilsman told us before the game is he likes to get Engsler going early, and that means running some plays for her to get an easy look, and that was an opportunity that she usually can convert on.
Engsler was really good in the first quarter, particularly on the boards when she had 11 rebounds. Sophomore from New York City, number 21. Here's 21 Shook on the other side.
Again, Syracuse shows zone, goes man.
Good catch by Dunham.
And Bianca Dunham with a nice hard roll to the front of the rim.
And that is Dunham's first points of the game. Louisville up 6, we have a timeout.
Jump shot is alive and well here from Jasmine Jones, gets to the nail, pulls up and knocks down shots, gets to the logo, pulls up and knocks down another jumper. She was terrific. Watch how she sets her feet. Look at the follow through at the top of her jump. It's absolutely gorgeous. Jasmine Jones is leading Louisville in scoring, 18 points in the first half and already a bucket here in the second.
8 of 10 from the floor. The rest of her team just 19% aggregately. She has 8 field goals. The rest of her team just 6. So she has really been pulling the load, and Louisville leads it by 6. Working towards her career high. Kiera Lewis with the drop.
See that, Pam, that drag screen late? I mean, not even a drag really, it's an on-ball screen after they get set up in the quarter court, and that's what she's really good at. And she's usually good at reading coming off that play.
Well, that was a nice move by Balagoon. Dribble in and get a better shot.
You would call that a runner. Not a floater, different.
Syracuse coming in 6-5 on the season.
Well, she is playing in that screening action. This time Jasmine Jones jumps to passing lane.
And then right up to Balagoon. Good block. Mana got on it.
Man, Balagoon's got to play more explosively. She just has to be more explosive, finishing those plays around the rim with some physicality.
Kingsler needing some help after picking up her dribble.
You got the switch, see, look, you pull it out because you got Dunham on you, a post play. See, Dana Evans switches back. That's what a leader does. Smart.
Lewis found a little bit of daylight and took advantage.
That's Kylie Shook's fault. She didn't step up on the level of the screen because she's worried about getting beat downhill by Kiera Lewis coming off that screen. If you allow Kiera Lewis to do what she wants in this ball screening action, it could be a long second half. Great take, strong. That's playing physical finishing, okay? Right here, look at Shook. You're not even at the level of the screen. You allow that much space for a really good three-point shooter. She's going to take that.
Fans here booing because Dana Evans was called for her first foul. A good sequence for Kiera Lewis to get her team to within 3.
See now, Jasmine Jones likes a challenge right here.
Good pesky, man. Good. She's playing a really good all-around game.
She does. She likes to guard. She and Dana Evans like to compete on the defensive end. I talked to Dana Evans today at shoot-around. She told me that she hates to lose. And I said, who's the next most competitive player on your team? She said, Bianca Dunham hates to lose. So now you've got 2 that hate to lose. And Jeff Walls is looking for a couple more that want to compete like that every day.
Kingsler called for the foul. Yeah, he talked about something when he used to coach under Paul Sanderford, when the former coach for whom he was an assistant, talking about how many great players you need to get to an elite level, and he thinks it probably takes about 3. Before you get to the Final Four, you have 5 who come in to be consistent effort. Then you're talking about national championship, and he says he's looking for those pieces on this team, again, after Durr, Carter, and Furing left last year. And boy, Asia Durr was super special.
Oh, she was a big-time player. One of the best and greatest guards in the history of the ACC, certainly in the history of Louisville's program.
Boy, is that saying something. Jones has 22, 3 off her career high.
Well, you mentioned Paul Sanderford. Only coach that with 3 Final Fours that has not in the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame.
Which is ridiculous.
And has won a national championship in junior college.
Lewis hit the floor hard, appears to be all right, but she was fouled by Shook, her second.
Lewis is coming alive here in the second half. She's a transfer from Ohio State. She was the Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Illinois when she came out of high school. Her dad was her summer league coach. Summer coach, I should say.
She and Gabby Cooper played AAU together.
And played against Dana Evans, grew up playing against Dana.
Pretty good competition. Take that away. DeCantler saw a lane violation. Didn't go in anyway, but the ball goes over to Louisville.
You know, you were saying, Pam, that a couple of Louisville players, you know, Evans, Shook, and Dunham hadn't been in the scoring column in the first half. Well, Gabby Cooper's struggling on for Syracuse, so she's a player that they need. She's their most experienced player.
Yeah, you're right. She is pitching a shutout so far and is their second leading scorer behind Lewis. Shook, finally.
She loves that three at the top of the floor.
Her 7th three of the season, first points of the afternoon. Biggest lead now is 8. And she stepped on the baseline. Yes, she did.
Emily Engsler was open on that. There should have been a pitch back to Engsler. Watch Shook, set her feet, lines it up. Late on a closeout.
Kylie Shook was terrific against Oregon. 18 points, 15 rebounds. Louisville, the only team to beat. They're fighting Sabrina Ionescu so far this year. Oregon beat Syracuse earlier this year. Rebound chased down by Evans, still time to shoot. Crowd applauds the effort. That Oregon win is huge on the seed line for Louisville when the NCAA tournament rolls around. Jones had a block from behind by Lewis. Excuse me, by Jaldi Tabdi, a sophomore from France.
Oh, Jasmine Jones had 2 whistles on that. She just shoved Gabby Cooper.
And they got her for just the first foul on Jones, who leads all scorers with 22 points.
You know what? She's done a really good job of staying out of foul trouble. That's been something that's plagued Jasmine Jones all season. You can see what productivity she brings when she stays out of foul trouble.
They lost Engsler. Good feed.
I don't see anybody for Louisville talking on defense. Got to move the ball here.
Evans worked her way free, wouldn't go in. Jop active and got it!
Jop sets a screen on the top of the floor for Evans, and it gives her a lane to offensive rebound. That's staying active on the offensive end and adding value.
Jop now on Lewis, the toughest defensive assignment. Lewis shoots over, cups out. Engsler able to control it.
Shook with a block.
Kylie Shook. A couple more blocks today as we take a timeout. The Cardinals up 8. 7-ranked team in the entire nation. Deb Antonelli is an AP voter, and you're going to go, wait a minute, she's going against the grain here. Tell us why.
Well, I'm one of 32 voters, so Rebecca's in the studio. She's a voter as well. I got Oregon State 1. I'm one of 4 voters that has them there. I have Louisville over Oregon because they won head-to-head on a neutral site. Everybody healthy, good officials. South Carolina, I think, is terrific. And UConn, I had them at 6, so I moved them up because Stanford lost. So I knocked Stanford back. All right, and so that's what I have. Louisville has 1 loss. It was to Ohio State on the road right after they came back from knocking off Oregon. So Ohio State's a good basketball team, maybe a little bit of a hangover. Stanford, of course, lost to Texas, another team that could be a very dangerous team if they put things together. But a lot of people put UConn at number 1, and I just don't have them there yet.
Oregon State, South Carolina all getting first place votes along with the Huskies.
3-second violation.
3-second violation.
I'll tell you a couple of teams on the national scene that I think are going to be really dangerous when we get to March are NC State and Florida State out of the ACC. I mean, we're in the ACC today, so I'm going to keep it talking about those 2 teams right now. The other one is South Carolina is terrific. Those freshmen are outstanding as Evans finally hits from outside the arc.
Dana Evans' first field goal of the afternoon. And it's a double-digit lead.
So maybe she will agree to wear the GoPro next time.
She's
I see.
starting to heat up. It just took a while. Foul, count it.
Look at Jabdi Taldi. This kid can play.
Shook picks up.
6'2", redshirt sophomore Pam shoots 57% from the floor. They get her isolated on the block one-on-one, going against the best shot blocker in the ACC.
Gets the three-point play.
She's got good feet, she's got great hands, she knows her role, and she does run the floor hard every time.
6'2", redshirt sophomore. Gets the lead back down to 8. And speaking of NC State, they beat Boston College today, so the Wolfpack remain one of the unbeaten teams in the nation.
Yeah, and Florida State was winning over Virginia Tech.
Florida State plays at Syracuse on Thursday. We will be there for that game.
Can't wait. Another good one, right?
A very interesting year in the ACC. Notre Dame down, losing everybody from last season, all their starters. Louisville picked to win the ACC, but Jeff Wallace told us today, we're no good.
Yeah, he thinks NC State's the best team.
Yep. And as you mentioned, Sue Semrau's got her kids playing down in Tallahassee. People wanted a shot block, but instead they got a foul. The ACC does have 4 teams in the top 25, 2 of whom we just mentioned are unbeaten. Nell Fortner's team beaten some folks this year, and boy, Notre Dame, we are not used. What are they, 6-7 overall?
6-7 going into the game today against Clemson. Well, I mean, Notre Dame lost 5 players to the WNBA draft. First time that's happened that 5 starters went in the top 19 picks. 2 players transferred, 2 players are hurt. That's 9. Anybody would struggle with that.
Coach McGraw playing a lot of youngsters, getting a lot of minutes. Cooper gets 1 out of 2, pardon me.
And they got a good recruiting class coming in next year with the young players that they have this year. Sam Brunel is going to be a star in the ACC. But I did not have them in the preseason poll because I didn't think they were a top 25 team before we even started playing games.
And so far that you have been 100%
well,
right on that account.
It's not disrespectful to Notre Dame. It's respectful to the rest of the teams in the country.
Job. Gensler able to come up with the rebound. Her 13th of the afternoon. 11-point lead, down to 7. You can tell the crowd getting a little bit restless here. Shot clock into single digits. Nice roll to the bucket. Oh, but she missed it. Tabdi. And Job got it blocked from behind by Engsler.
Got to make a better decision than that. So Job just looked over and you see Elizabeth Balagoon ready to check in over there. Pam, that means Job's going to do something right here. Either she's going to be a risky steal or...
She knows the clock's ticking. Another drive, another foul. Job just picked up her 3rd.
Well, if anybody needs to see the ball go in the basket right now, it's Gabby Cooper.
Yeah, she's 0 for 4, just 1 point for Syracuse, averages 10 per game. Senior from Lansing, Illinois. Saturday noon on ESPN2 and the app. It's a Big 12 matchup. Men's basketball, Oklahoma State and number 23, Texas Tech. You can catch that from downtown beautiful Lubbock. Coming up Saturday, noon Eastern time, 11 Central on ESPN2. 5-point advantage now as we head inside 40 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. Balagoon. Balagoon and Jones now in double figures for the Cardinals. Shot clock off for the Orange.
Too early.
Hyman looking over at Coach Q.
Maybe too late.
Angsler got 2 in the air and then missed everything. The follow just would not go. Gavin Cooper still without a field goal. Louisville up by 7 with 10 minutes to go. Welcome back to Louisville. Pam Ward along with Deb Antonelli, and the Cardinals are up 7, even though their stars haven't produced a lot. Picking it up a little bit though in the third quarter.
Well, they need to. I mean, the bright spot for Jeff Wells is he had some others like Jasmine Jones, who's picked up the majority of the scoring load. But Evans, Dunham, and Shook are all capable, and it's still early. We're still in December. You don't want to have your teams peak too early, but I don't think either one of these teams would be in danger of that happening today.
Jasmine Jones with 22 points. That's a travel. 22 points for Jones for Louisville. She is 8 of 12 from the floor. The rest of her teammates just 11 of 41. That's 27%. And yet, Louisville is leading. Evans only with 4 points, just the 1 made field goal. That was a 3 she hit in the third quarter. There's Dana with the ball. Jeff Walls looking for consistency from his team as we get close to the new year.
Look at all the standing going on by Louisville. You got to get a couple sides of the floor. If you do that, defense typically breaks down, or you just reject the screen for a straight line drive. You've got to finish those layups.
And Dana Evans not looking like Dana Evans this afternoon. Lewis, the point guard this year. In! Hyman with the big 3.
Yeah, this is just a 2-possession game. Syracuse has continued to battle from behind in the second half.
Second 3 for Hyman on the afternoon. Louisville is led by as many as 11. It's back in the third quarter. Kono threaded the needle on that pass. Now they need Evans. Got it.
What a tough contested 2. That was a very good defensive possession for Syracuse.
Evans just able to sneak in the shot before the buzzer.
If you're going to try to ice one side of the floor, you can't give up the baseline.
Off glass, nice move to her left for Finkley, her first basket of the game. Averages 6.5 points.
Jasmine Jones, we haven't heard from in a little while.
She's only taken 3 shots in this half. And the foul drawn by Dunham.
You have to have some time and score awareness, and Dana Evans recognizes shot clock running down. It's either her or Jasmine Jones is who you want to have the ball in those situations in a late shot clock, because they both can create off the bounce.
Dunham at the line, excuse me. Only a 63% free throw shooter on the season. Last foul was on Finkley. Now Kylie Shook back in the ball game for Louisville, replacing Narika Kono.
Louisville switching on their all that screening action.
Battle underneath. Dee Cantner raises her arm. Finkley was getting bounced around a bit.
Freedom of movement, right, Pam? I mean, she wasn't allowed to cut.
That is the 4th foul on Kylie Shook, who only has 3 points this afternoon for Louisville. Strong rebound by Dunham.
Syracuse has got a couple of players that can score with their back to the basket. Typically, Finkley can make that play.
Shook.
I thought that was a travel.
I looked like she lost control of the ball for a moment on the turn.
Well, the pace has really slowed down here in the 4th.
Finkley's been all over the glass lately for the Orange, and we get another foul call. It's on Robinson.
This is what happens when you get to conference play. It's possession for possession, right? It just pound it out each 30 seconds. This is where your details have to be outstanding. Neither team can afford any game slippage.
Hyman.
And not closing out to a 3-point shooter would be an issue for Louisville.
Oh,
now it's a 1-possession game.
How about that? Hyman with a couple of threes to get Syracuse close.
Now Louisville's got some shot-making pressure on them. How do they respond?
Robinson, not a good shooter, didn't even look at the basket.
Too much standing.
Evans trying to draw contact, nothing called, and here comes the cues.
Syracuse got a little momentum right here.
Trying to fight back. They were down double digits earlier in the half.
Watch for a late ball screen here.
Hyman takes it right to Shook, but left it short. Shook took it, just a little bit too strong. Rebound by Lewis.
Numbers for Syracuse, 4 on 2.
Hyman again, on fire, the freshman.
That is a smart play by Lewis. She knows Hyman just hit a couple of threes. It was a great choice in transition.
Hyman has hit all 3 of her threes in this game.
This is where Dana Evans has got to take charge right here. Jeff Wells saving his timeout. He doesn't want to use it. Next dead ball will be a media timeout.
Evans, desperation just ticked off the rim, but Syracuse coming back. Tisha Hyman doing some work.
5'8" freshman, first game on the road in conference play. Drains a deep triple and then in transition one. Add it up.
Now has 22, but boy, a 6-0 Syracuse run on back-to-back threes by freshman Tisha Hyman has tied this game up, and the Orange can take the lead.
And for Louisville, you got your best scorer today, who is having an issue behind the bench.
Shook almost. 13 seconds to shoot now. And there you see that she's being worked on by the Louisville Cardinals training staff. Louisville, by the way, has won 3 straight games and 5 of 6 in this series against Syracuse. But Clinton Hillsman team giving them the business, the number 7 team in the country. Shook again.
Oh, great save. Great D by Louisville. Disruptive the entire possession.
Kylie Shook was the one in the thick of things. So now Louisville gets the basketball back. And a foul in the backcourt.
I don't know why Hyman committed that foul.
She's a freshman?
Probably, because it made no sense.
Louisville basketball.
It's just the second team foul. Both teams were 2-team fouls. You're trying to deny her the basketball. They've been trying to make someone else bring the ball up the floor, but you don't want to commit that kind of foul that far away from the basket, and she's almost going to pick up another one here.
And the ball was already headed the other way when she grabbed Evans. 4 minutes to go in the fourth.
Louisville gets some false action going here so they can get moving, because they have been stagnant the last couple of possessions. Evans has got the switch, so she's pulling Finkley away from the bucket, and Jeff Walls goes 1-4 low.
Big time! Big time, Dana Evans.
If Quentin Hillsman's defense was in front of him, he would have switched to the 2-3 zone, but there wasn't time in the possession to do so. Great coaching. I remember we talked about point guards and the coaches over there on the sideline. A terrific job by Jeff Walls. He gets the switch he wants. He flattens out the floor and allows Dana Evans to make a read. They did a great job of moving. Now you got Finkley. You back her out, then you take her back out, then you take her back in and knock down the triple. See, Finkley doesn't want to get beat off the bounce, so that's why she's given that big of a cushion. But the best three-point shooter in the ACC, you got to come with a longer closeout.
Evans really struggled with her shot in the first half, but as you see, she has come alive in the second. That three was humongous.
Yeah, I've watched Dana Evans through the course of the season take ownership of this team. And last year she was the 6th player of the year in the ACC because she came off the bench. And this year she's taken over, and that's Jasmine Jones over there still shaking it out.
Still standing up towards the end of the bench, Jones. Lewis found a little bit of space and buried it.
Tough two.
Coming off a career high 32 points.
Here comes the run and
win
jump
against West Virginia. Evans can't make it 2 in a row. Big board by Hyman.
I think too quick.
Syracuse looking to take the lead. What a game this has been. Lewis, Hyman, the freshman, earning some minutes here in crunch time. And a sweet over-the-shoulder move. We've seen that a couple of times from Finkley.
When you play the schedule that Quentin Hillsman has played at the end of the game with as many tight games as you've been in, his team is prepared to execute under duress and make shots.
Syracuse back on top by 1. Trying to become the 2nd team to beat Louisville this year.
So you run the same play right here, Pam, so you get that switch, but this time they don't switch.
Boy, Evans has had a couple of tough ones the last 2 trips down, huh? And now Syracuse, the first time they've led since the 2nd quarter. Fans are not used to seeing them lose in this building, and they need to stop.
High hands on the closeout.
Good defense from behind by Kono, and Jasmine Jones is going to come back in.
Really good recovery. Yeah, you got to get Jones back on the floor for an offensive possession, but you had to get Kono off the floor because of defensively, she's not quick enough.
Desperation shot. A little bit more time, but shot clock violation gives it back over to Louisville, down 1.
Gabby Cooper, 0 for 7, has had a really tough time finding the bottom of the bucket.
Usually reliable for 10 points a game.
And you really got to execute right here. So they show 2-3 zone. Now they switch to man.
And she just came into the game, and Jones draws the foul.
That is a terrific set by Jeff Walls, a play he likes to run late for Jasmine Jones because She has the ability to reject the screen on a straight line drive to the hoop. You're not going to knock her off her line, and she's either going to score or get to the free throw line.
5 of 6 from the line today.
Great execution. And that's why Jeff Wells had to hurry up and get her back on the floor.
Got them both. What a game. And now most of the over 10,000 fans in attendance get on their feet looking for a stop as we approach a minute. Lewis, their leading scorer, with the ball in her hands. Gets it underneath. Finkley, stopped by Shook. Kylie Shook coming up.
It was a great tag on the roll to the rim, because Shook really took that ball screen and hedged her all the way to the top of the floor. Look at this tag right here by Dunham, who pinches in from the opposite side. Does a great job of tying up Finkley.
So Shook and Dunham tied up. Let's get you back to the studio. Here's John. Seconds left to go. Louisville just with a big defensive stop as they are trying to run their record to 12-1 on the season. Louisville next goes to Clemson and then welcomes in Duke as the ACC season gets underway. Louisville taking advantage of some turnovers this afternoon.
It was an issue for Syracuse at the break. They had 10. Now they have allowed Louisville to score 16 points off turnovers, and Syracuse is really good when they can play defense off their made baskets, not off their turnovers, where they can extend the floor and get back into their quarter court, showing zone, going to man. You can see Louisville's offense has been better here in the fourth quarter, outscoring Syracuse 15-9. Now keep an eye on fouls to give. Syracuse has 3 team fouls, Louisville with 2. Zone to man.
Lagoon backing up. Finds a little bit of daylight and then got fouled on the way.
Stratman should have seen that drive coming and got outside the restricted area to draw a charge. He had plenty of time to make that happen. And Balogun doing a good job, Pam, of reading the defense and driving to the hole.
The transfer from Georgia Tech, ACC Freshman of the Year last year. SportsCenter with SVP coming up after the NBA on ESPN and the app. We'll break down the Niners Seahawks, the NFL seedings, and also look at Luka Doncic's career, 100 games in. Coming up with Scott Van Pelt. Oh, Balogun missed 2 free throws and then finds redemption.
Well, shooters usually know when they're off, but you have got to box out here if you're Syracuse. You can't give up an offensive rebound late. Just a tip and a deflection. Give Kylie Shook a little bit of credit for keeping that alive.
Makes it a 3-point ball game. And again, 10,084, the official attendance here. What, you do games all over the country. This is one of the best atmospheres, hand down, in women's basketball.
Is incredible.
Sunday afternoon, it's raining out. Let's go watch a basketball game, and they've been into it every second.
It is one of the best environments, no question, Pam. It's a fun place to be.
And they're almost 100 games over 500 at this place. Not bad.
It's impressive.
Balogun with the putback, so now Syracuse down 3 with the ball.
State of Kentucky is a great basketball state, and they really care about their hoops here at Louisville.
Kentucky beating the Louisville men in overtime yesterday.
So Coach Hillsman calls timeout to advance the basketball. You've got time to get a quick 2 here, but they are a 3-point shooting team. The longer they dribble this out, the more the option for the 3 becomes available.
And Hyman, number 5, has hit 3 of them today. She doesn't get a shot off. Hyman is frustrated. She was all by herself. They didn't get her the ball. Instead, it goes to the Cardinals.
As well as Syracuse had executed the last couple of possessions, this is a poor piece of execution here late. Gabby Cooper steps on the out-of-bounds line, which gives the ball back to Louisville. Otherwise, she was looking to score, and she should have been looking to kick it out for a 3. The more you dribble, the less likely this option is available. I'm driving for a 2. A terrific job by Dunham to get the block, and then Cooper steps out of bounds before they get the jump ball. Right there on the line. It's an excellent piece of officiating.
Bianca Dunham, Kylie Shook doing the work underneath. 5 blocks for Louisville this afternoon.
So the next foul will give Louisville 2 shots, and this is the time in the game that I say all the time, Pam. We should have the 1-and-1 in women's college basketball. We should not be shooting 2 free throws here.
Jones with the inbound, and right away, Balagoon, who just missed 2 free throws on her last trip, gets fouled by Hyman. And that is an opportunity for Balagoon to go back to the line.
So she can make this a 2-possession game by just making one of these. There's really no pressure on this free throw. Okay, now there's pressure on this one. She's missed 3 in a row. Okay, if Syracuse rebounds, they're going to call timeout and advance the ball.
Got it. Makes it a 2-possession game. Lewis throws up a 3, and it goes over the backboard. And Louisville looks like they're going to escape.
My bad. Syracuse did not have any timeouts remaining. That's why they didn't call timeout to advance the ball.
So Syracuse trailed by as many as 11 points back in the 3rd quarter, came back to take the lead.
Well, this just goes to show you what the conference is going to be like. The ACC going from 16 to 18 conference games, and Louisville and Syracuse will play each other another time. We play 4 teams twice.
We'll
February 9th will be the next time that these 2 teams meet.
It will be an afternoon game in Syracuse. Syracuse again will play Florida State Thursday night. Deb and I will be there for that ball game. Florida State has beaten Virginia Tech, so they remain unbeaten along with NC State. Quentin Hillsman team about to fall to 6-6 on the season. And Louisville goes to 12-1. They had to really earn this one this afternoon. So Jasmine Jones with 24 points, just 1 off her career high. Louisville wins it 62-58. Deb Antonelli and our entire crew, I'm Pam Ward, as we say so long from Louisville. Navy Virginia men's basketball coming up next, but we'll come back with more from this game as we head back to the studio. John, Rebecca, and Coach Andy.